Hello, and welcome again to the Python Learning Workshop. My name is Jesse Gallarzo, and really quick, we're going to do a recap of what we did last time, and then go ahead and get started with the new content. So, last time, we went ahead and opened up our browser and downloaded the zip file from GitHub. We went ahead and downloaded the Anaconda software from the Continuum website. And what I didn't go over was the text editor Sublime Text. Now, some of you may already have this installed on your computers, and whether you do or you don't, I just want to go ahead and point out that we will not be using Sublime Text for the coding aspect of it. Now, as you can see down here, you can certainly do that, and I would encourage people to give that a try. I know I've used it before in the past, but for the purpose of this workshop, we won't be using it. But I will note that I will have it open on the sides in case I need to go ahead and show you all anything. And I would recommend you guys having the text editor open as well, just because it's always good to have notes of what it is that you're working on, or maybe you're starting running into some problems with your code. You kind of want to go ahead and document that so you can go ahead and use it for future reference. Now I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. We can go ahead and close the browser. So hopefully by this time you've already installed the Anaconda software onto your computer, and the tic-tac-toe py master file has already been unzipped. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do before we start is we're going to rename our code right here, the file ttt outline. We're going to rename it to tic-tac-toe. And now, for any of you that have noticed the way that I wrote the py file, the first T is lowercase while the other two are uppercase. Now, that's just a naming convention that people use to write their code. Many times you will see a combination of words as the Python file, and the first one's always going to be lowercase, and every word after that is uppercase. Not really important for the workshop, but it's just good to know as far as context. Now let's go ahead and minimize this. Now go ahead and start up your Anaconda Navigator software. I already had mine opened up, and once you open yours up, you're going to see that there is several apps already here loaded up. Now, for the sake of our workshop, we are going to be working with the Spyder IDE. IDE standing for Integrated Development Environment. So this is going to be the environment under which we're going to write and run our Python code. So once you already have the Navigator software up and running, go ahead and click on Launch under Spyder. Go ahead and minimize that. Actually, mine was already running. So what you're going to want to go ahead and do, it's going to take about a minute or so for Spyder to go ahead and load it up. Mine's already loaded up, and I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick what's going on. To the left hand side is going to be the editor where we're going to go ahead and write some of our code. And to the right, and y'all might have yours a little bit different than mine, maybe it might be a little bit smaller, but you're going to see that on the right hand side you're going to have a console like that. Oh, I almost took that out. Now, the console is going to be where we run, and we can also write some Python scripts onto the console itself. And in case you don't have a Python console like this, you want to go ahead and move to consoles, open up a Python console. It should open up a new console for you right there. I'm going to go ahead and close this since I already have one open. So here, right here at the console. Now, what I meant earlier as far as being able to run your own code from here, a lot of programming languages don't actually let you write code on the fly. For the most part, you usually have to write your Python code first and then run it to see if it executed correctly. And with Python, we can kind of skip that, and I will show you that in a minute. If you want, you can go ahead and follow along with what it is that I'm doing. So for the first off, I'm going to write the word print, open parentheses, apostrophe. We're going to write hello world. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure that there is a second apostrophe enclosing the text right there, and then we're going to have parentheses enclosing everything after the print. Sorry about that. Go ahead and press enter, and we can go ahead and see the output, hello world. It's pretty neat, right? See, most programming languages don't necessarily let you do that. You would have to write it out over here in order for you to do that. As so, print hello again. So, and in case you guys don't have an open file already preloaded, you can always click right here, get yourself a new file up and going. We're going to go ahead and close that. I already have one open. Now we're going to go ahead and click on run. And see, here we go with hello again. So it looks like it really didn't do much. We only ran one statement and it gave us an output. I want to go show you guys really quick a snippet of Java code that does the exact same thing. As you can see, there's a lot more lines that we had to write in order for us just to say hello world. And that's the powerful thing about Python, that it is super readable and it allows you to do more by writing less. And you'll get to see that as we progress through the workshop. But again, a real quick recap of what we just did. The print command or the print statement allows the Python script to go ahead and give us an output of our choosing. And while it might not seem too impressive by just repeating what we already told it to say, you're going to see that the print statements are going to have useful capabilities as we start writing more and more code. Now, let's make this a little bit more interactive. So we're going to go ahead onto our left-hand side. We're going to go ahead and erase the line we just wrote. So this is what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to put input, open parentheses, apostrophe, what is your name? Just make sure that the text is surrounded by the apostrophes and then everything else is surrounded by the parentheses. Press enter. We're going to go down here. We're going to write another print statement. Print. Nice to meet you. The plus symbol. And then, oh, I almost forgot. We're going to write, before anything right here, let's go ahead and write name. Name is equals to input and everything we just wrote. And so here, we're going to put name. So, we're going to go ahead and run this Python code right here. Now, on the console, it's going ahead and asking us, what is our name? I'm going to go ahead and give it my name, Jesse. Nice to meet you, Jesse. So, what we can kind of see here, as we take this variable name, we use the input command so that it can ask us for our name. And then we take the same variable, we add it to this print statement right here, and we connect it using this operator right here. Now, there's a handful of operators that you can learn, and there's going to be a few of them that we're going to use for this workshop. All you need to know for this is right now is the plus sign operator allows you to join together two pieces of string or data types like we did right now. And then at the very end, we did another last print statement, nice to meet you, which was already predefined, plus name, which is the variable that we got to assign when we were running it off of the console. And see, this is one of the cool things you can do whenever you ask for input. You can kind of take that data and then manipulate it. But if you can see the output right here, nice to meet you, Jesse, there's no space in between you and my name. The reason being is because Python, like almost all programming languages, they're super specific. They don't understand the regular text that you and I can understand. You have to specifically instruct it to give it spaces. Otherwise, it's going to give you something like this. So let's go ahead and put the space right here. Nice to meet you. Go ahead and run it again. So it's asking me again, what is your name? I'm going to provide it, Jesse. Nice to meet you, Jesse. Okay, so we can kind of see that it looks a lot nicer this time around. And this is something that you want to go ahead and keep in mind whenever it is that you are writing code like this, whenever you're trying to give out input or output, that you want to make sure that it's clear for you and for any of the other users. Now, earlier I called this a variable, and if any of you are familiar with algebra, any type of basic algebra, you usually see functions defined as x plus y is equal to 11 or something along those lines. Now, the x and y in this case are the variables, and they usually ask you to assign a numeric value to them. What does x equal to and what does y equal to, and what are those two values equal to that make 11 together? So that's kind of what we're doing right here. So we're creating variables, and we're predefining them so we can use in our program. We're going to go ahead and go into the console right here so you can kind of see that how that happens. So we're going to do just that. X is equal to 5. Y is equal to 6. So now print X plus Y. And then we get an 11. And see, you can manipulate data types like this, especially with the data types right here. These are the integer types. You'll kind of get to see a more detailed explanation about that later. But the variables x and y hold the numerical values for 5 and 6, and we ask them to add them and print them. It's not combining them like we combined them over here. What it is, it's taking the actual numerical value and it's adding them and giving us the output, which is 11. So let's go ahead and play around with that a little bit. X is equal to apostrophe 5. Y is equal to apostrophe 6. Now, if we do the same thing, print X plus Y, how many of you think is going to give us 11? How many of you think is going to give us something different? Let's go ahead and find out. Press enter. It gives us a 56. The reason being is that because it is no longer the integer data type that it is right here, they are now string data types, which is what we did right over here. This is a string data type. These are integer data types. So instead of, instead of giving us the number 11, it took the string 5 and the string 6 and combine them together. It's almost if we did this right here. So print 5, 6. So that's pretty much what we did, but in a numerical sense. We just went ahead and combined the 5 and 6 together instead of adding them. So let's go ahead and use what we've applied right now and open up our script that we're going to be working on. File, open, tic-tac-toe. Hold on, let me go ahead and get to the right file. I apologize about that. Tic-tac-toe file, master, tic-tac-toe pie master. So here's the tic-tac-toe file that we went ahead and downloaded and renamed. We're going to open that up. So you're going to see that there's a little bit of pre-generated code on here that I already wrote. Now, as the workshop progresses, we're going to go ahead and fill in these empty blanks. So first, right now, what we're going to do is you want to go ahead and erase the number sign right there. And just for future reference, so you know what's going on, all these lines in right here that start with the number symbol, they are known as comments. Now, comments under any programming languages, they are ignored when the program runs. So everything right here is going to be ignored until we go ahead and get rid of the number symbol. And sometimes we want to go ahead and leave comments under our code. I know for myself included, I use comments to indicate where something is not working the way I want it to, or a specific part of the code is throwing me an error. So for the time being right now, I just went ahead and commented everything, so that way when we're ready to start working on it, we're going to start filling it in piece by piece. So we're going to go ahead right here. We went ahead and erase the number symbol off of def game rules or define game rules. So go ahead and erase that right there. Right underneath it, you see another line. We're going to go ahead and erase that, but we're going to get up into the point where the number symbol gets deleted, and we're not going to delete any further. You want to make sure you keep the indentation. Otherwise, the program's not going to work. Now, let's go ahead and define the rules of our game. So I'm going to go ahead and write a print statement. Print. And instead the apostrophes, I'm going to write down whoever matches 3 of a kind wins. Place either an X or an O, within the grid. So now that that print statement's been written out, we're going to go ahead and go down here where it says a def main. Erase that right there, and then we're going to do the same thing right there. We're going to go ahead and erase up until we get to the number symbol, and then stop. Right here, we're going to go ahead and write game rules. Now make sure that when you write game rules, it is written the exact same way that I have it written right here, with the only difference being that it's going to have the parentheses but no colon. And then one last bit that we're going to do, that we're going to modify, is right underneath it, we're going to see something similar where it says main, and then just the two parentheses. We're going to go ahead and erase the number sign in front of that. So right now you should have def game rules with the print statement underneath it, def main with game rules written underneath it, and then at the very bottom of your line you should just have main. So if all of this matches up exactly the same way that I have it right here, we're going to go ahead and run this piece of code right now. So right here under our console, we see the rules that we just wrote out. Whoever matches 3 of a kind wins. Place either an X or an O within the grid. Okay, that's great. But there's not really much going on right here. So to go ahead and make it a little bit more exciting, let's go ahead and write out our game grid. So right here, def print grid, we're going to go ahead and erase the number sign. Same as before, we're going to go ahead and erase up until we get to the same to the same indentation. Now, if you accidentally erase that indentation, it's not the end of the world. You can go ahead and press tab, and it'll take you right back where you're at. And again, I can't stress enough, make sure you keep the indentation, otherwise your code will not work. So now let's go ahead and make our grid. Print, parentheses, apostrophes. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a vertical dash 1, vertical dash 2, vertical dash 3, and then we're going to close that off. For the next line, we're going to do another print statement, print, apostrophes. Now we're going to do about 7 dashes this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, to make our lives a little bit easier, we're just going to go ahead and copy this code right here. Copy the print statement. Next line, printed. Skip a line, print it one more time. And then we're going to get the one that's right here, this second print statement. Copy that. Now, one last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and edit the numbers. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now that we have our grid up and running, let's go ahead and write it down here. Right underneath game rules, you're going to want to go ahead and press enter, and then type in print grid. So once you make sure that everything matches up right here, and you have the game rules and then the print grid, let's go ahead and run it. So we got the same thing. We went ahead and got the rules printed out, and then we also have the grid for our game printed out. And this is going to be an important piece of code later. We're not necessarily done modifying it, but just for visual purposes, I want you all to see what the grid's going to be looking like. And at some point, we're going to go ahead and replace the numbers with the X's and O's of tic-tac-toe. But more on that in future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck.